Good morning, everybody. It's time for Morning Manna. And this morning, let's talk about the real flex. The real flex. We've been starting on this whole piece about providing the provisions of God and wanting to, Lord, meet my needs. Well, this morning, I'm continuing this morning manna in this whole thing about the real flex. I'm going to go back. If you remember on Pentecost Sunday, a couple Sundays ago, we dealt with this whole thing, dealt with the whole piece about the after party, Pentecost, the after party. Well, we still want to deal with that, and we want to look at how the community really flourished, how it became so influential, and many times we miss what is really happening here in this community. So, this morning's manna today, and for the balance of the week, and into the sermon series on Sunday, I'm going to be talking about that Pentecost, the after party, what took place after. And we want to walk through those things. That's what we're going to deal with on this morning. And let me greet some folk first about that. And then we're going to get into the manna. How's everybody on this morning? How is everyone on this morning? Got a word for you, as you already know. Good morning, Ramona, back in your first position. Thank you for being back. Still lifting you up in prayer. Gerald, how are you on this morning? Michael, how are you? Nita, how are you on this morning? Yes, an amazing prayer for provision, and we're keeping with that same biblical principle. Good morning, Deacon Joe. How you doing, man? I bet you on top of the world down there in San Antonio. You got tickets to the game? Send them to me so we can go together. How about that? Good morning. Good morning. Cyrus, how are you on this morning? Verena, how are you on this morning? Jacqueline, how are you on this morning? Minister Yolanda is in the house. Deborah Sims. Where in the world is Deborah and Elton now? Who knows? Who knows? Good. It might be in Mars for all we know, the way they travel. Good morning, Elder Mobley. How are you? Ann, how are you on this morning? Winifred, how are you on this morning? Good to see you on this morning. Good morning. Thank you. Y'all see that? You see that right there? See that on the screen? It says shared. Shared. I ain't trying to throw no shade or nothing. I'm just, I'm not trying to create no sibling rivalry amongst the Morning Manor family. I'm just putting stuff on the screen. Good morning, Dan. How are you on this morning? Good morning. Good morning, Cynthia. How are you on this morning? Liz, how you doing on this morning? Thank you, Dan. You're catching it. Yes, indeed. Joya, how are you? Elder Jan, how are you? Eugenia Hendricks, how are you in the house? Yes, Vaughn and Eugenia, how y'all doing? The Hendricks crew is here. Good to see you on this morning, Elder Mobley. Brenda is here as well. Sharice is here, and Anna is here. And about time for another visit for New Life. You already know. Laura is here. Jacqueline is here. Marcy, how are you on this morning? Star and Francine is here as well. You already know. Got a word for you on this morning. And so let me kind of paint the picture, and then we're going to go right into our morning manna. And, I said we're going to be dealing with this whole piece about God providing and all. I want to help you and put it in the context of the after party, Pentecost, the after party. There's so much that we look at and we miss in the after party of Pentecost that speaks to the provisions of God and how he meets the needs of the people. And so we're going to share that with you. But as usual, let's get into the manna. Got a word for you.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Manna, where in 5 minutes or less, you're going to get an impartation with the text, the talk, and the takeaway. Join the Morning Manna fam every weekday morning at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Don't forget to put in the chat the revelation that you get and share the manna. Now, let's get ready to have some manna so you can make it through your day.
Here's the text. The text is this: the real flex. The real flex. Watch what's happening here. The text is Acts, going back to the after party. Acts 2 and 42 and following. And they, the ones in the upper room and more, the 3,000 that are saved, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and fellowship, to the breaking of bread and the prayers. And fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done through the apostles. Watch what's happening. And all who believed were together and had all things in common, and they sold their possessions and goods and distributed them to all as any had need. Watch what's happening here. When most people think about Pentecost, they think about wind, they think about fire, they think about tongues, they think about power. And we should, because Acts 2 is one of the most explosive moments in the life of the church. 3,000 people were added in a single day. But here's what we often overlook: the miracle did not stop at the altar. The evidence of Pentecost wasn't just happening in the sanctuary, it happened in the community. Luke intentionally moves from describing the powerful worship that everybody experienced to generosity in the community. The same spirit that empowered them to speak in tongues also empowered them to share resources. The same fire that filled the upper room filled their hearts with compassion and caring and understanding what was needed. The Holy Ghost didn't just change their praise, it changed their priorities. Get this, put this in the chat. The early church became a living demonstration, it became a living chasm of community service and generosity. There's three things I want you to get with this. Here's the first thing: the Spirit produced compassion. The believers didn't see possessions as personal trophies, but as kingdom tools. Get this. In Acts 4:32, I want you to get even more than this. Acts 4:32 says, they were one in heart and mind. Before they shared their resources, they shared their hearts. Pentecost power created a community where mine became ours. Two, the Spirit produced contributions. In Acts 4:34, now we read in the second chapter, let's move further to let you see that this was not just a one-off. Acts 4:34 says, there were no needy persons among them. Now come on, is that real? Had to be. They started out that way, but didn't remain that way. Think about that. Jerusalem still had poverty. The Roman Empire still had injustice. Yet within the church community, folk was taking care of what was needed to be taken care of. The Holy Ghost moved from the upper room into the wallets, into the homes, into daily living. Here's the third thing I want you to get. The Spirit produced credibility. In Acts 2:47 says, the favor of all the people. What does that mean? I know we tend to think of favor as somebody's going to do something for you that would not have done it had not the favor of God fell into your life and into the relationship. Let me expand your understanding of that. What is happening here is this: that favor also means that it's respectability. People respond to you out of their respect of you and for you. That's favor. And that's what they did. What happened? It says there was an awe. It wasn't a scare. It was an awe. People were drawn to the church, not only because they heard them speaking in tongues, but because they saw them sharing their bread. How about that? They saw them sharing and meeting the needs of others. They saw them caring for one another. The church grew because the community saw love and community in action. So, what's your takeaway this morning as we move toward understanding how God is going to take care of all of our needs according to his riches and glory? The greatest proof of Pentecost power is not just what took place in worship, but what happens in spirit filled lives of generous people. Yeah. The Lord be with you today. May his face shine upon you, give you peace. If this bless you, bless somebody else. Don't keep it to yourself. Share the manna. As we move down this road this week as to how God will meet our needs and do exceedingly abundantly more than we could ever ask or think by the power that works within us. You got a need this month, he's going to take care of it. Watch what I say. Share the manna. Don't keep it to yourself. I'll see you tomorrow morning with more morning manna. See you tonight with a word too. God bless you. Bye now.